Here, got a nice little replay sent by Maiden James. This one is Nekroz Monarchs, and I've actually played against this deck on my stream before. At first, I was like, what the heck is this? This is obviously a troll deck. Get out of here with it. It actually runs a lot better than you would better than you would imagine. A lot of it has to do with the fact that Monarchs already have so much deck thinning and draw support with like 3 Pantheisms, and you can kind of play trade into Monarchs because your Mega Monarchs are level 8, but we know Nekroz also have Valkyries, which is a level 8 as well. So it's like there's a lot of trade-in targets in this deck. You've got a lot of speed. Nekroz can obviously search their deck for whatever they kind of need because they've got Colossalus and they've got Brionic and they've got Preparation of Right. So this deck actually thins itself out very, very quickly, and it allows you to get to your core like power plays and whatnot, like Trishula and things like that. Megazaborg is an absolute ridiculous nightmare in this deck. Like Megazaborg can literally give you like a +4 in this deck. Like it's ridiculous, and that's without Elder Entity Nethys really needing to be used. Once that card hits the TCG, look out, man. So let me show you guys exactly what's going on. He's playing against I guess you can call this Red Eyes Felgrand Heretics. Not the most competitive deck, obviously. You see he starts with the deck thinning and searching from like Brio and Colossus and whatnot. Plays some Monarch spells and traps. Obviously, you're going to search out some cards for Pantheism. Then he tributes for Megazaborg, and this is where shit is going to get crazy. Now, he did have to use Prime, obviously, but it's not that big of a deal. Prime is searchable, so even if you don't have like Erebus to get Prime in the grave or Eighth or whatever, you can get Prime in the grave pretty much at will with Monarchs because you can search it at will with either Tenacity or Pantheism. As long as Pantheism stays at 3, this deck will have some hope. So anyways, look at all those cards. So you guys know what Megazaborg does. It basically sends like 8 cards from the extra deck to the graveyard. But the thing about it is you send those cards to the grave for a reason, because you got to think Treat Toad, once this card goes to the graveyard, it doesn't matter how it goes to the graveyard. As long as it hits your graveyard, it says you can target 1 water monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. The entire Nekroz archetype is water. So basically, you just recover all of the Nekroz cards, like Brionic and, Colossus, the cards that you discarded to search. You basically just get to add them back. Now, I'm kind of wondering why he only plays 2 copies of Treat Toad, because the pluses are just ridiculous. Also, you get the plus off Herald of the Arclight, because when this card goes to the graveyard, you get to search a copy of, like any ritual spell or any ritual, monster that you want. So it's like in this version, if you summon Megazaborg and you blow itself up, not only can you take out about half of your opponent's extra deck, but then all of these monsters like Tree Toad and Herald of the Arclight, they just end up plussing for you. And that's again without Elder Entity Nethys needing to really do anything. So you see Tree Toad, like look how many pluses he has. 4 cards in hand. Just watch. Like wait until you see this guy's card at like his hand size. It's gonna be utterly ridiculous. He's not even done. Hold on, pause. Look at this. This is freaking ridiculous. This is all off of 1 Megazaborg. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards in hand. You opened with 5 cards. I mean, that's basically that's like a +4 just right off the back off 1 summon. And keep in mind that since Nekroz don't really use their normal summon on anything other than Magic Ascension, you can pretty much still ritual summon. Now, I mean, lucky for his opponent, the new Trishula is nothing like the old Trishula, because if this was the original Trishula, he obviously would have been able to banish, some cards out of his hand, maybe some other stuff like that. Now, he does get hit with Big Eye, but at this point, the Red Eyes player has basically invested everything into it. He's invested everything onto his field. He has a Gospel Revival, which is pretty cool because it does protect his monsters, but not when Brio can just bounce stuff. And that's another thing that's cool about this build of the deck, because obviously you're running an extra deck, so you can't really depend on Domain to lock your opponent out. But Nekroz themselves are designed to basically just destroy the extra deck. I mean, cards like Brionic and cards like Unicorn are instantly, they're just kind of like extra deck, like stallers or excuse me, stunners. You know what I mean? So even without the domain, you still have a decent amount of like lock. Now he summons Trishula for the second time, but again, he can't actually banish because with Trishula you have to banish all 3. Gospel of Revival is protecting this guy, or Return of the Dragon Lords, whatever you want to call it. It is protecting him. He gets the Nekroz Monarch player down to 200 life points, but he's not going to be doing any more battle damage. He trades in the Erebus, and actually a nice little touch is Necro Face, because you got to think of all the cards that you banish. The Necro spells and traps can banish themselves. The Monarch spells and traps can banish themselves for Prime. You know, Valkyries can banish things. So actually, Necro Face makes a whole lot of sense in this deck. You can also banish like Edia. You can banish Eidos to summon like an Edia. So it makes a whole lot of sense to actually run Necro Face. It gives you just like an instant kind of sack tool that can get you all your like important spells and traps and Necros cards like back to your extra deck. So, back to your main deck. So this is just an interesting replay. I was looking at this deck and I was like, this deck doesn't work. And no, it actually works a little better than one might imagine. When these cards come to the TCG, man, like Treat Toad and Invasion Vengeance, look out. Just saying, man, you might run into this deck. Anyways, thank you guys for watching as always.